Hello everyone, welcome to session 14 of QA training. In this session, we are learning boundary value analysis. Boundary value analysis. Boundary value analysis. Boundary value analysis is a black box testing technique that is often executed along with equivalence class partitioning. Both this boundary value analysis and equivalence class partitioning techniques, when implemented together, help you to prepare good test cases that can help in finding most of the defects using these test cases in a software application. These two techniques are very important, boundary value analysis and equivalence class partitioning. Here in this session we are learning about boundary value analysis. Boundary value analysis is commonly known as range checking and can be applied at all levels of testing. Boundary value analysis is very important for any application whose values are divided into partitions, because an application function is most likely to change when these boundaries values are hit. For example, consider an application which shows the grades of the students upon entering their test marks, where everyone scoring between 1 to 39 or 0 to 39 is grade D, 40 to 74 is grade C, 75 to 89 is grade B, and 90 to 100 gets the grade A. Here the mark range specified and can be considered as 4 partitions. If a student scores anything within the specified range, the application would invoke the associated grade for that student. Now, in this case, the boundary values for the first partition. In this example, what is our first partition? It's 0 and 39. It's 0 and 39. So here 0 is the lowest boundary and 39 is the highest boundary. Similarly, right, if you see here, right, what is my boundary for 0 to 39? Minimum boundary is 0, maximum is 39. Similarly, for all the grades like 40 to 74, you have minimum boundary and maximum boundary. And for all the grades, you can see that minimum and maximum boundary. That means, similarly, marks specified at the edges of other partitions also becomes boundary value for the remaining partitions. These boundary zones are always prone to errors. You can find many errors based on these boundaries. You can find so many defects actually. So you should specifically concentrate on the boundary values while implementing the test cases. Boundary value analysis is usually applied to values such as numbers, date, time, currency, and so on. So you can apply your boundary value analysis technique for these scenarios. You can apply for numbers, date functions, time functions, currency, and so on. While it is easy to identify two boundary values for each partitions, however, usually for writing test cases, it is better to consider three boundary values for both upper and lower boundary of a partition. That means you should identify the next precision value in the sequence of the partition. In this way, you ensure that the most errors that occur in this zone can be found out. In the given example, what the three values for the lower boundary would be? What is my three values for my lower boundary? -1, 0 and 1. And the upper boundary it would be 38, 39 and 40. That means, see, whenever if you're testing your application by using boundary value analysis, you can test the application based on the boundaries. What is the lower boundary? That is, what is the minimum boundary and what is the maximum boundary. And also you can test the application on that particular boundary. That means minimum minus 1, minimum, minimum plus 1, maximum minus 1, maximum and maximum plus 1. So these are the boundary conditions for any test. Let's continue with our boundary value analysis. So there would also be situation wherein identifying the boundaries is not always possible. Consider a height measurement example where they categorize height 5'6" as above as tall people. The maximum value accepted by the system is left without identifying because there is no established height limit to what maximum height should be, which will categorize a person to be tall. In this case, upper boundary value is not defined. This is known as open boundary, where one edge of the participant is left open. To test such boundary, you should check the system specification to identify if any possible can be put as a threshold limit. Boundary value analysis is an important black box testing technique that helps create test cases for different types of values. You can use equivalence class partitioning and boundary value analysis when you want to perform the complete testing for any application. That's all about boundary value analysis. Thank you, team. Thank you all.